Let's go make a killing.
All right.
Welcome to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
10 to the 5 to the 4, pylon, touchdown!
The sharpest football contest show in the land.
I'll take the action. My Birds, Benjamin Franklin's team, favored by 1.5 points. I'll give you 3 more.
You're now riding shotgun with 2 former contest winners in Brady Cannon and James Salinas. And getting a former player's perspective with 9-year NFL veteran Mike Pritchard.
Let's go!
As they guide you through strategy, process, and your contest picks each and every week of the season.
I do like the idea of a parlay.
Now here's your host, Brady Cannon.
Oh boy, welcome in everybody. Week 16 in the NFL, episode 18, season 2 of the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, presented by Circus Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. I am Brady Cannon, along with Mike Pritchard and James Salinas. Gentlemen, crunch time has officially begun. 3 weeks remaining in the NFL regular season 2025. Circus Survivor winnings on the line. And it is, of course, in the balance for the Against the Spread contest as well. Mini contest, you name it. The home stretch has officially arrived. Let's take a look at what happened in week 15. Another bad week for the consensus. What else is new? 1-4 in the Super Contest, 2-3 in Circus Survivor. Now still hitting at 40% are the most popular 5 picks week in and week out in the 2 big contests, the Circus Sports Million and the Westgate Las Vegas Super Contest. We went 3-2 in both. We continue to do well, knock on wood. We've got some life as far as some of the mini contests and something to play for here down the stretch. No blood in Circus Survivor. The 10 remaining entries all survive and advance by way of the Jaguars, Eagles, and 49ers. When we get to the Survivor section of our program, some very interesting developments with players coming out and revealing who they're going to select in week 16. We will get to that at the bottom of the hour. Gentlemen, let's start at the top of the board from an against the spread perspective. We've got Saturday games this week. We have discussed the Eagles and the Commanders, a division game. It looks like for the first time in God knows how long, we'll have a repeat champion in the NFC East division, that being the Eagles. The Commanders have shown some life as of late. Jaden Daniels going to be benched. I kind of like the points here, but I don't think any of us has a great feel for this game. It is 6.5 in the contest. It's now 7 in the live market. You wonder if the Eagles are going to be popular. Let's get to the more popular game, James. The Bears and the Packers. Round 2 in the last 3 weeks at Soldier Field, my friend.
And looking forward to this Saturday night. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow night, just from a fan perspective, a football fan and a betting perspective for not only for the contest, but I think this is really going to be a game, at least the way I'm going to approach it, a contest aside, is a live betting game because there are so many injuries, fellas, with both of these teams. We know where Green Bay is right now. Obviously, a devastating loss with the loss of Micah Parsons. What a tremendous pass rusher he's been, especially the last 6 or 7 weeks. I mean, he's basically been the entire pass rush for Green Bay. Teams have to consistently, week in and week out, game plan for where Parsons is going to be, and he lines up all over the line of scrimmage. So big loss for Green Bay. And you think about where that game was against Denver last week, Pritch. They were, it was a back and forth game. And then that drive, which is kind of interesting, that drive where Parsons went down and Denver was able to take advantage and take the lead, close out the third quarter on a touchdown pass. Not only did Parsons go down, but on the same play, Williams went down. He's their box safety. Evan Williams went down with a knee injury as well. Didn't get any attention from the trainers. The whole training staff went over to Parsons, but Williams is a young player, but he's a tremendous box safety for that team. And I don't think he plays tomorrow. He hasn't practiced all week. We're talking about an MCL sprain. I don't think he's going to be on the field. And yeah, Parsons is a big hit for them. But I think Evan Williams, that box safety, we know what the Bears want to do. They want to run the football. And on the other side, Pritch, for the Bears, they've got some key injuries at the wideout position. Adunze's not going to play. Luther Burden's not going to play in this game. Really feels like this is a game that is going to get back to smash mouth football for the Bears, and it's right in front of them right now. That division is right there for the Chicago Bears. They win this game, and they are in the driver's seat in the NFC North. I really kind of like the Bears in this spot. I just think this is a team for Green Bay, Pritch, that is really limping into this contest. Their bye was back in week 5. They've had multiple games on the road over the last few weeks. kind of feels like not only an injured team, but kind of a weary team. I know we'll see a great effort out of them, but this is a team right now where I think the Bears playing with a ton of confidence. Ben Johnson, I think, is the best coach on the sideline in this game. Give me the Bears, Mike.
Yeah, you know what, James? It's an interesting game, interesting matchup, too, because of where it is on the schedule. Just a couple of weeks ago, these two teams played, and we talked about hair on fire game. And we saw the icy handshake after the game, too, between LaFleur and Ben Johnson. I mean, Ben Johnson, he's the one that put the target on Green Bay, understanding that when he was at Detroit, he enjoyed beating up on LaFleur and then certainly the Green Bay Packers. And so he lit the fire for his team. But what he did, to me, is be consistent. One of the things I've been doing when you look at these matchups, too, and the quick turnaround, I don't think the game plans are going to be that drastically different between a few weeks ago and just coming up this weekend. But when you look at the makeup of coaching staffs, that's interesting to me, especially now in December. You know, you got Ben Johnson, you got Eric Bieniemy, and certainly from the Kansas City Chiefs won Super Bowls. And you have Dennis Allen. And, you know, Allen propelled himself to a head coaching job because he was an extraordinary coordinator, kind of like Josh McDaniels. He's a terrible head coach, but he's one of the best offense coordinators ever in the game. And that's why New England's got it going too. So the makeup of this team, when you have Ben Johnson who can just focus on the offense and sort of the game plan and coach and do the things necessary, you got a guy like Eric Bieniemy who brings that intensity as well as what they need in a running game. And that has really flourished, really, if you look at how the Bears have succeeded. It's coming together for them. And it's coming together for them at the right time. And you got a young team that really, really believes in themselves. Whereas on the other side, I think Green Bay licking their wounds a little bit. You know, they thought they could go into Denver and push the Broncos around. Well, they got pushed around. And they got beat up, too, to your point, James. So I do like the Bears in this one. I think there's so much momentum on that side. And then Brady, another team that's generated momentum, seemingly getting it back, is Buffalo, right? And Buffalo's a heavy favorite in this matchup against the Browns. I know this about the Browns. Every man for themselves on that team right now. If you are Schultz and you know that Myles Garrett is this close to breaking that record, of course you're going to design some things for him to get him a sack, right? But then after that, I think Myles checks out. I think the Browns check out. Now, I don't want to lay it in a contest for the Bills, but certainly from a teaser situation, I'm putting together a monster teaser card, guys, this week. And the Bills are definitely going to be part of that.
Be careful there. A 7-point teaser still gets you to just 3.5. You got to get on the other side of the field goal there, Pritch. You know that. Yeah, I think from a contest perspective, the Browns are an interesting play. The live market has 10.5. It's only 10 in the super contest. But the scheduling spot, I believe, is tough for Buffalo. And they're starting to feel themselves again. This team's now getting the buzz of, hey, they're a Super Bowl contender again. They're back in the race. They just knocked off New England. We saw what happened to Buffalo after they slayed their dragon in the Kansas City Chiefs earlier this year. The next week, they went down and lost to Miami. I could see Buffalo slipping a little bit after that big emotional comeback victory over New England last week in Foxborough, and now going on the road to Cleveland in basically, it feels like a meaningless opponent. We will see. We'll come back, continue to scour the card here on Week 16 on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Want to enter the biggest and best football contests in Las Vegas? Look no further than footballcontest.com to get the info you need to succeed. Covering Circa Million, Circa Survivor, Grandissimo, and every super contest at the Westgate Superbook. Reserve the most trusted proxy service in the business now at footballcontest.com. Maddie and Tony have been leaders in the industry for 20 years. They submit your picks while you focus on picking winners. Experience matters. Go with the pros at footballcontest.com and start winning now.
Looking for your next ultimate golf experience? Discover Valley High Golf Club, a tropical paradise on the Las Vegas Strip, featuring lush greenery, water features, Balinese tropical plants, white sand, and black volcanic rock, creating an enchanting atmosphere. Valley High creates a memorable golf experience for a typical foursome, a group celebrating a bachelor or bachelorette party, or your next corporate outing. It's award-winning golf on the Strip, Vegas style. Book your ultimate golf experience now at valleyhighgolfclub.com.
Welcome back into the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Brady Cannon, James Salinas, and Mike Pritchard with you. We are going to skip over the New Orleans Saints and New York Jets game. We'll save that for Survivor talk, believe it or not. And we will go to the Minnesota Vikings on the road visiting the New York Giants. Now, Minnesota has won outright the last couple of weeks as an underdog. Now they are in the role of road favorite at New York. James, what do you do with this one?
I think this is just a mismatch on the coaching sidelines. I mean, you look at where Flores and with McDaniels here, this team, it's been the quarterback, right? That's been the issue all season long with the young player and being banged up, I think, for Minnesota at the quarterback spot. I mean, the shift last year from going from Darnold and all the success that they had in the playoffs, but they saw how he kind of melted down late in the season. And now with McCarthy getting off to a hot start, getting hurt, having to go to Wentz, him getting banged up. And then now coming back to McCarthy, kind of felt himself last week against the Dallas Cowboys on that Sunday night game that they won outright as a pretty significant dog. But I just think from a coaching perspective, what we have here on the sideline for the Vikings versus whatever is on the other side, Pritch, and that's what I'll ask you here. I'll hand it off to you in a second as far as the coaching mismatch and where that is right now with the Giants. I mean, right now, it's a beat-up Giants team. Get that part. Jackson Dart going to move forward as the starting quarterback, but you're going to go against this defense with Flores. And Flores, we know, runs so many different looks, so many different pressures. And with the short career injuries already with the concussions, the Dart, and it's really just in his nature, he's a competitive kid, wants to extend plays. I think this is the wrong defense to continue to try to be such a gamer and a competitor that is to extend plays, going to get hit and get hit often against this Vikings defense. This is a coaching mismatch on both sides of the ball. I love the talent with the Vikings, and it's been a tough schedule for them coming through this, but now on the other side of that, some big games that they've won within that division, the NFC East. This is the bottom feeder of the NFC East with the Giants. Pritch, where are you at with New York, especially within that locker room and the interim coaching staff?
Yeah, you know what, James? I'm nowhere with New York. I mean, it's been, I don't think ever where you see an interim head coach have the power that Kafka has, meaning firing coaches. Like normally, you fire the head coach and you're probably going to fire some other coaches along with them if you feel like you need to make a change. But Kafka has been charged to do that, right? Brian Cox, defensive line coach, that was well liked by those guys up front. The defensive coordinator, certainly, who had lines or designs with Daboll. Then you had, the general manager involved with Daboll too. So there's this dynamic in the locker room that stinks. And outside of youthful enthusiasm on the team of the Giants, meaning Jackson Dart and some other guys that are trying to step up and make plays. Other than that, they don't have anything. They have buckets. I mean, you talk about adjustments throughout a game. There are none. There's nobody on the defensive side of the ball for adjustments. There's no substance, and there's no I guess I want to say experience there. Kafka's never been in this situation too. He's an offensive guy. He's a quarterback. All he wants to do is call plays. And so after you get through the scripted nature of the game, you get into adjustments, which you're going to be plentiful, right? You think about Flores and what he's going to try to do from a defensive play caller. That's where it gets dicey for me. Now, on the other side, when you look at the Vikings, everything about young players is about growth, is about confidence. And to me, McCarthy's starting to get that confidence. I mean, he's doing a gritty and going into an end zone against the Dallas Cowboys, right? Then this team gave up a lot of yards against the Cowboys and still won on the road. So there's some confidence brewing with the Vikings. Is it enough to go on the road again as a favorite? It does get difficult there. But to your point, James, I totally agree with you. I mean, it's a mismatch, a complete mismatch from a coaching standpoint, preparation standpoint too, and then just looking in that locker room dynamic, which stinks right now for the Giants. I just don't know how they play 60 minutes as a team, not only coaches, but as players as well.
Well, I think we kind of rode that storyline last week successfully when the Giants were taken out by, I can't even remember who their opponent was now.
Washington.
Was it Washington? Yeah. So, will that hold true for a second straight week? We will see. Mike, I'm going to go back with you, your old home, the NFC South. This is for all the marbles here. The Buccaneers and the Panthers, the Buccaneers in Carolina, a home dog, and they have that recipe of a good rushing attack and decent defense. This will be the first time of two meetings in the last 3 weeks of the season between these two front runners in the division, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the Panthers, you certainly want to take care of business at home right now, knowing that that's the dynamic of the schedule. And I've been one to be tough on Canales and not really think that he knows what it takes to propel this team in the month of December. I mean, they looked abysmal against the 49ers on the road not too long ago. But they're working through some things too. The dynamic between Hubbard and Dowdell. I think they've worked it out. They're going to run Hubbard, but yet he's more of a pass threat guy, and they're going to really work that out. Bryce Young even has settled into understanding the role that he has on that offense. And then defensively, you like a lot of things that they're doing. I think it's a good matchup for the Panthers here. And when you look at the lack of execution on the other side for Tampa, a lot of it is because you're bringing back old familiar faces, and you get caught up as a quarterback sometimes playing favorites. I was with a quarterback that did that. We were 8-2 at one point. We get a receiver back. I'm talking about in Seattle. We get a receiver back that the quarterback had a relationship with. And now he's giving him hand signals that we never had in the offense. He's telling him to do things in the huddle that we never had in offense. And we went on a spiral, man. We lost like 5 games in a row. And we barely made the playoffs that year. So, it's crazy to think about when guys come back, even though they're elite players, that you lose the continuity or you lose some of the things that you built up with the other guys. And I think Tampa's going through that a little bit. They're a better roster, a better team, but there's a chance here for Carolina in this matchup, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it ought to be a great game. We've got this one here in week 16 and also another in week 18, the final week of the season. That one could be for all the marbles in that division. First things first, they'll meet up in Carolina this weekend. When we return, we talk Dallas Cowboys and Los Angeles Chargers right here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Steiner's, a Nevada-style pub, invites you to play the best keno and video poker in Las Vegas. Promos are how we roll, so make the most of your gaming dollars with ongoing promotions, daily free play, bonuses, and more. With a chance to win Knights, Raiders, Aviators tickets, and big money with all those jackpots. It's not only great gaming at Steiner's, it's the 24 awesome rotating draft beers and the best appetizers to match. Steiner's, the Nevada-style pub, with 3 locations across the Vegas Valley. Steiner's, I love this place.
Okay, welcome back to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, Week 16 in the NFL. These contests coming down to the wire. And a big possible swing game here will be in Dallas, where the Cowboys are coming off of a loss to the Minnesota Vikings, and they welcome the Los Angeles Chargers to town. And James, I think a lot of people are probably a little bit surprised that Dallas is a favorite in this game.
I guess I'll be one of those people too. I was surprised they're a favorite too. Dallas, I mean, I know the Cowboys are still mathematically alive for the playoffs, but this is not Jerry's world here. I'm not betting with I'm 2-2 is not 5, fellas. They have no shot. I can do that math, and I know that it's 4 and they're not going to get in there. So Dallas really, they had their juice after winning the Thanksgiving game against the Kansas City Chiefs. But to me, the party's over here. And we saw it last week. I mean, this was a team that defense showed up like they did the first half of the season when they played the Vikings last week. They made McCarthy look like he was a 5-6 year veteran back there, making all the reads. And now Minnesota obviously has plenty of talent on the offensive side. But I think the Chargers come with a hell of a lot more grit and toughness and competitiveness than the Dallas Cowboys do. The defense is really soft. That reared its head last week against Minnesota. And you got a Chargers team here that still has an outside opportunity to be able to compete for the AFC West. It's a 2-team race. Obviously, Denver's right now in the driver's seat. Big win last week against Green Bay. But I still am. And whether we put this on the card or not, there's only one side to me here, fellas, and it is the Chargers. I think we see the only concern for me is, hey, they swept Kansas City and they put the last nail in the coffin for the last decade that the Chiefs have ruled in the AFC West, and for that matter, really almost within the AFC conference, going to the Super Bowl as many times as they did. But the first sweep that they had over Kansas City in 12 years, I don't know, does that have a little bit of a letdown? I feel like every team always gets up to go play in Jerry's World and step on that star. To me, this is a Chargers win here, Pritch. I really like LA.
Yeah, I mean, I love the matchup too, and we're talking about December football, and so much is different in December football because teams know exactly who you are and what you want to do from an identity standpoint, and what do you have? What can you get to? How do you make the game easier? Do you have matchups? Well, yeah, the Dallas Cowboys, they have matchups, but you have Schottenheimer, who is trying to be the head coach and play caller. Peyton Manning ran into this a lot of times. The reason why he had a terrible playoff record is because he called his own plays and he had a hard time changing tendencies, right? So he lost a lot of playoff games because of that. Where you have Dallas and you get to this situation where you have to change tendencies and you can't. And so I think from a head coaching standpoint, that's a challenge. And then defensively, they're falling back to being the old Cowboys that way. The Chargers, with Harbaugh and certainly Herbert playing the way he has, there's a lot of toughness in this team, and they have a lot of options. They can run the football. They can use play action. They can drop back. I think Quentin Johnson going back home, played at TCU, that's going to be a big lift too. So there's a lot of momentum for me with the Chargers, Brady. So I do like that side as well.
Yeah, I have a feeling it could be a very popular side, and maybe that's not the direction we want to go given the position that we're in. We will see. We will get to all of our picks at the end of the show. Kansas City and Tennessee. This is a really interesting game, Mike, and I know you've got some thoughts on this one as well. I think there's too much pride with Andy Reid in this organization. You just said it, James. This has been the ruler of the roost for the last 10 years. And yes, their quarterback is out for the year and they're been knocked out of the playoffs. I don't think they're going to lay down. And this is a point to kind of stand up and say so against a very weak opponent, Mike, in the Tennessee Titans.
I mean, it's possible, but then it's also unfamiliar territory. And we're talking about a Thelma and Louise off the cliff difference between Patrick Mahomes and Gardner Minshew. The only reason why Minshew's there is because he has familiarity with a West Coast style and an air raid style. And that's what Patrick Mahomes is all about. He played air raid at Texas Tech and then incorporated that with the West Coast scheme with Andy Reid. Andy Reid, and remember the offensive coordinator is Nagy. Nagy's a horrible play caller. I would not be shocked if Andy Reid doesn't even call the game because he doesn't have Patrick out there. And you kind of find out what Nagy's about as a play caller. And then defensively, there's a lot of injuries, key injuries, and I think uninspired football on that side. Patrick Mahomes uplifted this team, guys, to a level that propelled them to where they were for the last decade, really almost decade. But it's so different now with this type of journeyman quarterback, and I think the Chiefs can let down in this one. But I don't trust the Titans either, though. So I come steering away from this game.
Very interesting that this is 3.5 in the Circa contest. Circa Survivor talk next, right here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
San Diego is home to Wolfpack Hospitality Restaurants, located in beautiful La Jolla. Stop by Cove House, Shore Rider, and Dough Mama Pizzeria on your next trip. Visit Cove House, a top 100 brunch in California, or Shore Rider, serving up margaritas, fish tacos, and a vibe that will make you feel like a regular in no time. For a slice of New York-style pizza with a California twist, it's Dough Mama Pizzeria, where the wings and pizza draw compliments from around the world. Go to wolfpackhospitality.com, and we will look forward to seeing you at Cove House, Shore Rider, and Dough Mama Pizzeria.
Welcome back into the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Brady Cannon, Mike Pritchard, and James Salinas with you. Don't forget to check us out online at footballcontestshow.com. Circa Survivor Talk has reached this point of the program, and there are 10 live entries remaining in the contest that has $18.7 million on the line. All entries remained unscathed in week 15, and now there's been some early reveal on who they're going to select in week 16. One of the 10 entries has the Buffalo Bills available against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland. They have come out and said they're going to select the Bills. Now, we're taking these people at their word that they're not lying about this. It's possible. One person has come out and said they're going to use the 49ers on Monday night on the road at Indianapolis. One entry has come out and said they're going to use the Houston Texans at home against the Raiders. And then also one player apparently using the Philadelphia Eagles at home against the Washington Commanders. 7 of the remaining 10 entries still have the Eagles left to use on that Saturday game. And then very interestingly, James, 2 entries of the remaining 10 have come out and said they're going to land on the New Orleans Saints. You're going to put all those millions on the line with the New Orleans Saints. And we've seen this line move in the live market. The Saints, roughly a 4.5 point favorite, have gone all the way to as high as 6.5 in some spots in their matchup with the New York Jets.
The Saints is a favorite. I really like. We've had the Saints a few times, but it's always been the underdog. Actually, they've only been a favorite twice this season. They are 1-1 against the spread. They were a favorite against New York back in Week 5 against the Giants, the other part of the Big Apple duo, and beat them by 2 touchdowns. But last time they were favored, that didn't work out so well, being favored at home against the Falcons, and they put up 10 points on the board. So, with the Saints here, a little mojo, having a couple really nice divisional wins, winning that game at Tampa, and then really being able to spoil not so much the season, but the division hopes for Carolina. Now they put Carolina into a dogfight against Tampa, which they're going to have their first of 2 coming up this weekend. I don't know. That's a big number here for the Saints to have to cover from an ATS perspective. But when it comes to trying to put that much money on the line, where we got a rookie quarterback, and I know he's shown some moxie, has Tyler Schuff, but this is not a place where I don't want to play the Saints. I don't want to play the Saints as a favorite. I don't want to play the Saints as even in a money line piece just to win this football game. Pritch, I know you're familiar with the Saints being in that division down there in the Bayou, but is this a spot where you would feel comfortable putting this much stock in the Saints to have to win this game? I get it. The Jets are a bad football team. They've made some changes to their coaching staff. Maybe not such a bad thing getting rid of Wilkes, the defensive coordinator. I think they can only go up from there. But is this your spot with the Saints, Pritch? You like New Orleans?
I mean, 18 million on the line. No. I mean, I think everybody would be uncomfortable. But sometimes when you're betting, you're uncomfortable, right? I call it the sweat. But I don't know if I would go that route, but it all is depending upon availability too as a player. I mean, this is the thing about Survivor, right? And I've already alluded to the fact that I told Derek Stevens this about how Survivor mimics being a player in the National Football League in so many different ways. Here you go again. Now you're an owner because what's the point of being a billionaire if nobody knows it? That's why you buy a team, right? So if you got a chance to win 18 million, what's the fun in that if people don't know who you're playing? And so you get some notoriety from it that way. But clearly you're going to hedge too. I mean, at this point in the game, whatever you can put together, you're going to try to hedge. If you call in all your distant family members, if you need to, or even if you got a hedge fund out there that you might know, maybe you're trying to get some people involved to help you hedge this thing. But no, it's an interesting proposition to go with the Saints. Shuck. The positive for him is that he's won more games than Dart, Shedeur Sanders, and Cam Ward. So good. There you go. Right. I guess if that's what you need. But Brandon Staley is the defensive coordinator. There's nothing really to like there with the Saints when you're talking about 18 million, other than the fact that they're playing the Jets. And I don't know if you have any other entries, you might want to explore that. But if your only entry, looks sound from a Survivor standpoint, is the Saints, and I mean that's what you got to go with, and certainly cross your fingers and cross your toes, whatever you need to do to try to have luck on your side in this matchup.
Mike, the Houston Texans seem like the no-brainer of the week. Now, 3 of the 10 entries that are left have the Texans available to use. They are at home favored by 14 points over our Las Vegas Raiders. You have some good intel inside that locker room with the Raiders. this line is probably inflated. Yeah.
Right.
But do I want to run to the window and bet the Raiders? I mean, from a Survivor standpoint, if you've got the Texans available, they're not playing on Christmas. Mike, I think this is the direction you have to go.
Yeah, you do. And it's certainly for a lot of reasons. I mean, D'Amico Ryans is a player, and he's a guy who understands December football and, getting tuned up for the playoffs. And, I think with CJ Stroud and what he's been through from this offensive standpoint, they're starting to figure that out. The matchup too for the Raiders, there's not a lot of intel other than the fact that the Raiders are dysfunctional once again. And then if you're trying to understand what the Raiders are all about offensively, good luck. I mean, there's nepotism. Like Pete Carroll's not going to fire his son, right? And so as a player, that even though his son is incompetent as an offensive line coach. Now they do have some elder statesmen as advisors, but that doesn't really work, right? I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's about accountability, and at the end of the day, it's about team. And the Raiders have not exhibited being a team at all this entire season, whereas Houston is the total opposite of that. And I think defensively, they have a chance to overwhelm the Raiders. I mean, this game could get nasty in terms of the hitting, in terms of how physical Houston wants to be in this game. And at this point, I don't think the Raiders want any part of that, right? So, yeah, I mean, if you're a Survivor player and you have Houston, now that's something you can be confident about and really start to gear up for the Christmas Day schedule and what your strategy is going to be down the stretch there with this contest.
James, are you as confident going to Indianapolis? A lot of people have come out and said they feel like the Niners are a play this week on Monday night, laying 6.5 points, 5.5, whatever. That feels like a little bit of risky business to me, putting all that on the line with San Francisco.
Well, I think the Colts still have, they're mathematically alive still. Obviously, they've had to make some interesting moves at the quarterback spot, and Rivers, to their credit, they've really dialed back the game plan, a lot of quick throws out of Rivers. But he looked, considering how long he's been out of the league for 5 years, to step in and go into Seattle and compete the way that they did. They really had that game won, hit a 60-yard field goal with just 45 seconds left in that game. Colts still have a lot of fight here, and they're going to be playing at home on Monday night. And I think the one advantage for the Colts here, offensive line, and with the way that they've had to scale things back, is the SF doesn't really have much of a pass rush. Obviously, a lot of injuries to that defensive side, but not a lot of pass rush here. I think this is going to be a highly competitive game. We'll get to that with the ATS piece, but ATS, I like the Colts. Survivor piece? No, I'm not. There's nothing that compels me to say this is an automatic win for San Francisco on the road.
Nobody has Baltimore left, Denver, Detroit, Green Bay, the Colts, the Chargers, the Rams, or the Seahawks. We will talk about a couple of those teams on the other side when we come back on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
When the football contest crew isn't busy dominating the field and making plays that leave opponents in the dust, they're doing something just as exciting. They're playing My Vegas Slots. It's a top-ranked, free-to-play mobile app that lets you earn valuable real-world rewards from amazing partners like MGM Grand, Bellagio, and Norwegian Cruise Line. You can score hotel stays, great meals, show tickets, and more just for playing. Download My Vegas Slots today from your favorite app store. And if you're anything like Brady, James, and Mike, we know you're going to love it. That's a winning play you won't want to miss.
Want to gamble like the pros? At LasVegasAdvisor.com, you'll find the world's best how-to books, software, and strategy cards featuring blackjack, poker, video poker, and of course, sports betting, including the Stanford Wong Classic Sharp Sports Betting. Don't forget LVA's Member Rewards coupon book, offering discounts on dining and entertainment, including a buy one, get one for the awesome lobster buffet at the Palms, and more than $700 in gambling-free play, match play, and bonus offers. Up your gambling game today at LasVegasAdvisor.com.
All right, so nobody in Circa Survivor has the Baltimore Ravens left available, the Detroit Lions, or the Denver Broncos, the red-hot Denver Broncos coming off of a victory last week at home against the Green Bay Packers. They will stay in the Mile High City, James, and welcome, all of a sudden, the equally hot Jacksonville Jaguars to town. It's a 3-point spread in both contests, and in the live market, we've seen Denver creep to 3.5. Agree or disagree, Mr. Salinas?
I think I really loved Denver last week, small dog against Green Bay, and a few things lined up for Denver in that second half, mainly the injuries to not only Parsons, but also on the same play. We talked about that earlier to Evan Williams, their block safety, and credit Peyton. He went right after them. His replacement that came in, they spread the field and they went right. I was a special teams kid. I forget the kid's name, but they went right after him. A big touchdown in the back of the end zone down the seam. So now, and it was such a high level game. That game felt like, that felt like a game to get to the Super Bowl. It felt like a high intensity playoff game. And I think this will, in a sense, kind of have somewhat of a letdown. I know Jacksonville's coming in and they've been playing really well as of late, especially at home. Now coming on the road, we've talked about the home and the road splits. In particular, Pritch, when you think about the quarterback spot for Jacksonville, and can Trevor Lawrence be the same quarterback on the road that he is at home? Going to be a tough task coming into Denver. But I just feel like for Denver now, it's all talking about Denver. And now you've got the driver's seat to the number 1 seed in the AFC, which they do. But I still have some questions about their offense. And I'm curious to see for you, Pritch, where you stand with that. I don't want to play this game. My first instinct was, I love Denver in this spot. But thinking about the spot and then thinking about the matchup, I'm kind of getting off that. I don't think I really want to play this game from this standpoint, not only with Trevor Lawrence, but Pritch, can you talk about the in-season acquisition that we got for Jacoby Myers? We just signed a nice extension down there in Jacksonville. They've obviously been really pleased with him over the 5-6 weeks that he's been there. But I think he's really opened up the middle of the field as a veteran receiver to give another look for Liam Cohen in that offense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've evolved, and that's what you need to do in December football. I mean, Denver, just real quick on them, the last 5 weeks, they've won every game under 1 possession, and that's twice against the Raiders. Think about that. Against the Raiders, they only beat the Raiders by 1 possession each time. And so you look at the schedule, they come together and they manufacture plays at the right time. And that's Denver offensively. Now, defensively, they're one of the best defense, if not the best defense. On the other side, Jacoby Myers has added to that West Coast scheme the drop back element that Trevor Lawrence has been missing. He's a play action guy. He runs with the ball too. We know the running game is potent as well. But now you can actually get the drop back with a possession guy like Jacoby Myers because he is a skilled route runner and he understands that scheme. And so it's a perfect fit, really, for what Jacksonville wants to do and what Liam Cohen wants to do. And it's evolved the offense. So now that's even more for Denver to have to handle. One of the things about Denver, too, is, they've been giving up a lot of yards on the ground when you think about how potent that defense is. And to me, in spots, I think Jacksonville can be successful that way. But it is a different element with Jacksonville playing at home versus on the road, too. So that's a tough game, guys. And from a contest standpoint, I can't get there on either side.
Well, how about, James, the New England Patriots visiting the Baltimore Ravens? This is a high-level intensity game as well. The Patriots, do they bounce back after being slapped in the face by the Buffalo Bills with that huge comeback? And, adding insult to injury, they had a lot of players hurt in that contest with the Buffalo Bills as well. Now you've got the Baltimore Ravens as a favorite in this one, 2.5 or 3 points. Who do you side with here, James?
Kind of lead Baltimore. Right, we need to see the Friday practice report, injury report for New England. A lot of injuries on that defensive side, and we saw that happen during the game against Buffalo. I mean, they came out, did the Patriots, and jumped right on them, right? 21-0. And you thought the game was done. I think from that standpoint, maybe that youthful exuberance might have got the best of them, but I think it was more so the injury bug here that hurt them. And then Buffalo was able to start to manufacture the running game again, like they're capable of doing. A lot of big, heavy the tackle eligible stuff, bringing in big bodies up there to pound the football. I think we're going to see the same thing out of Baltimore, being able to do that and get back to rushing the football with Derrick Henry. But I think my bigger concern is just kind of the psyche right now. I know Vrabel will do what he can in that locker room for preparation and get their mind right, but this is still a pretty young team for New England. And to have such a roller coaster in that game against the Bills in the span of 60 minutes of game time, I'm just interested to see the psyche of how this team responds in this game, having to go on the road on Sunday Night Football to Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's one thing to play loose and certainly, you're catching people by surprise. I thought the Patriots would be an outlier team, but not to this degree. But Vrabel's done a fantastic job, and now the pressure mounts. Yeah, it's that game against Buffalo. You could see it, you could feel it from those younger players. Like they're all comfortable and dancing on the sideline and doing all this stuff, and then when the pressure started to mount, they couldn't make plays, and that's what this game boils down to. And on the other side, you got Lamar Jackson participating on Thursdays again, whereas when he was stumbling and fumbling and not executing the offense, he wasn't working on Thursdays or barely on Fridays. So now he's healthy enough to work Thursdays and Fridays. And I think the execution has been a result of that too. So there's some intriguing numbers right there under a field goal with Baltimore in this matchup, with the pressure mounting against the Patriots and as they get deeper and deeper in their schedule. So maybe an opportunity for the Ravens in this one.
Mike, what about the Detroit Lions? They have been nearly spotless when coming off of a loss. And the Pittsburgh Steelers come to town off a very impressive win on Monday night. The Lions a big favorite here, 6.5 or 7 points.
What I looked at and where I found the edge for the Steelers was possession. And I think that's Campbell. That's something that Campbell's probably preaching this week. We got to possess the football in this game coming up in this matchup. So the Steelers on one side are starting to get things right with Arthur and certainly Aaron Rodgers on the same page now.
When we come back, we get to our picks. We release our card for Week 16 in the Circa Sports Million and the Westgate Super Contest when we return on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Las Vegas isn't just a place to play, it's a great place to live. Louis Payon with Magenta Real Estate is a trusted 5-star real estate professional who's called Vegas home for over 3 decades. Whether you're looking to buy or sell, Louis will guide you every step of the way with proven strategies that deliver results. Call Louis today at 702-849-7160. That's 702-849-7160. Louis Payon is the official realtor of the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Welcome back to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show presented by Circa Sports and Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Brady Cannon, Mike Pritchard, and James Salinas with you. And it is time to reveal our 5 selections for the Circa Sports Million and the Westgate Super Contest. And it is that time of the year where we have to get contrarian. We are in position. We are relevant in these contests, mini contests, the overall on the outside looking in, maybe, but we have to roll the dice here. And that's what we have done. We also reserve the right to change these, but we're going to go with some wild ones here in Week 16. We are going to start with the Commanders on Saturday catching 6.5. That's in both contests. We're going to go with the Cleveland Browns getting 10 at home against the Buffalo Bills, getting 10.5 in Circa Sports Million. We'll take the Jets at an awful number, plus 4.5 in the Super Contest, plus 5.5 in Circa Sports Million. The Jaguars, what has now become a bad number, with 3.5s in the live market. We'll take Jacksonville plus 3 in both contests. And then finally, the Miami Dolphins and their backup quarterback, Quinn Ewers, catching 4 points in the Super Contest and 4.5 in the Circa Sports Million. And James, the one game that did make our card that we have yet to break down is that Cincinnati visiting Miami game. And this is a very interesting contest with Tua being benched by Coach Mike McDaniel.
Well, and moving on from Tua, obviously, and I know with the cap hit that they're going to take, and we know that we've seen this in the past with other quarterbacks where they guaranteed money, and if they get hurt in the last few weeks, got to pull them out. And maybe it's a shot in the arm for the Dolphins, because I don't know how well Tua was liked within that locker room. And unfortunately for Tua, all the injuries that he suffered, in particular, the head injuries, the concussions that he had over the course of the last few years, I think it's really hindered what he's able to do anymore. I mean, you got to suspect that has had a massive impact on how he's approached his time competing, especially this season for the Dolphins. But it's more so the other side. I know Burrow's you got Burrow as the quarterback for Cincinnati here, but fellas, I mean, they had Burrow last week against Cleveland or against the Baltimore Ravens, and it looked like a complete no-show. I mean, Burrow is such a competitive player, and I know whatever's swirling around off the field for him, that's a distraction or it's really impacted his joy and his love for the game. I got to suspect also all the injuries that he's had in his career. I mean, it's demoralizing and just grind going through another rehab and another season of rehab and hustling back to see where this team is. And it's one of the worst franchises in the NFL. Pritch, you know that. You can attest to that. I mean, even the cheapskates that they are wouldn't even pay folks to come out and shovel the snow off the seats for fans last week in that game against Baltimore. We've seen it at other stadiums, the Bills, guys lining up. They're paying them $25 an hour to come out there. They're pounding brews and shoveling snow and having a good time, ready for the Bills, trying to get their game going. And that was not the case last week in Cincinnati. Multiple cold games on the for Cincinnati, seeing a lot of snow the last month. Now they get to go to South Beach and see some sun. I kind of think they have some fun down there on Saturday night. This is not a business trip for the Bengals. This is going to be an early vacation for them. I really like getting the points here with Miami.
Yeah, Miami defensively against the Steelers, well, they fought, right, that first half, even in the cold weather. But then, when you have a quarterback like Tua, and players know this, you just lose interest. You're like, what are we doing? And there's no accountability here. So, McDaniel is going to be interesting. I don't know who's going to be at this game because we know Miami fans don't really show up anyway. But defensively, I can get behind the Dolphins and that effort and what they're doing. McDaniel is going to be interesting what they do there because when you're moving off of a franchise quarterback like this and you're moving off of that cap hit, do you want to kind of clear the deck for somebody new or give somebody new a chance? So, yeah, coaches like this in this situation gets interesting because they're always auditioning too. I mean, players do, and coaches are looking for that next job as well. So, the Dolphins. There's a lot of reasons to back. One in particular would be that defense.
Yeah, I feel like the stock couldn't be much lower after the nation saw them get rolled by Pittsburgh. They benched Tua, and you've got Quinn, but James, you pointed it out last week. This is no longer really a quarterback-driven team. It's Devon Achane and the rushing attack. And you're going up against the Cincinnati Bengals defense and going from the cold weather to the sunshine. They've been at home. They've been in Baltimore. They've been in Buffalo. They've been in Baltimore again. They've been in a lot of cold weather stadiums, and now they get to go to Miami. The Commanders, the Browns, the Jets, the Jaguars, and the Dolphins. That's our card for Week 16. We'll talk to you next week right here on the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Thanks for tuning in to the Las Vegas Football Contest Show.
Don't you just love football? God, what a fun sport.
Subscribe today on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts to receive weekly alerts as soon as the show's available. Good luck with your contest selections.
Pay that man his money.
And we'll talk to you next week.